few different things on this in our topic here. Is a game I love quite a bit. It's called Transistor. Now, this is made by Supergiant, who's put out like 3 sort of indie titles now. They came out with Bastion and then Transistor. I've never played Bastion myself. A lot of people love that game. Transistor is my favorite thing they've done. I played Pyre last year. Super fun game, also kind of unique. But this soundtrack is done by Darren Korb. And the 2 picks that I did were not really indicative of the overall sound and style of the soundtrack. I just thought they were kind of unique to this topic because they're a little bit different, a little bit more traditional in the sense that they're songs with vocals. So they feature a female vocalist, Ashley Barnett. So there's more like almost like a sort of smoky jazz sort of vibe to the whole soundtrack. And so these couple picks that I pulled were with her on there, and so you have these like female vocals that sound really great over this sort of atmospheric, weird, sort of, I don't know, jazzy kind of thing, like almost like a futuristic jazzy, like, club environment is what you would imagine whenever you listen to this. But the rest of the soundtrack itself, is just your typical, instrumental stuff, and a lot of it's really great. He also does. He incorporates a lot of sort of guitars into his music and stuff like that. You can tell that he approaches sort of video game soundtracks more from the standpoint of which I would if I was writing them, where it was like, I'm coming at it from a guitar first standpoint, and then he has like sort of these layered beats and stuff under it, like synthetic like drums and stuff like that. But it's a really super cool soundtrack, and that game, if you've never played it, I don't know, have either you guys played Transistor?
I did a little bit, and I would say the music, like, I'd categorize it as like trip hop.
Yeah, I don't really know like weird labels that people put. I've heard of trip hop and stuff like that.
I know everything electronic. Okay, we already
okay. Whoa.
hinted at this.
Okay, all right. Settle your dick down, son. But yeah, no, I because I pulled up a couple lines in reference to this. So, what he labeled it, acoustic frontier trip hop, and so it's like heavily sampled beats and layers and stuff like that. Then you have more of the acoustic guitar elements to it. And then like Bastion won the Spike Video Game Awards for Best Original Score back in 2011. So he's known for like really cool music in video games. He's been recognized and stuff like that. So if you haven't played Transistor, I think it's like one of the coolest like indie downloadable games that you can play. The combat system in that is one of the coolest, most original combat systems in any game I've ever played. It plays more like an old school JRPG or something like that in a lot of ways. And I love the aesthetic of it. I love everything about the vibe of this game. I mean, it's basically like a woman that lost her voice. She was a singer, and the voice, she has a voice through the sword that she finds. And the story itself is not really satisfying, but all the elements around it, like the overall just sort of things on the periphery, the little side stories and characters and stuff like that are really cool. It's a super awesome game. I love the shit out of it, and the soundtrack definitely brought it to life for me.
I would agree that the soundtrack is absolutely splendid. The game itself is great as well, but the soundtrack really does stand out, and I do agree with Matt that it's trip hop. It reminded me a lot when I first heard it of some of the work of Uncle, Massive Attack, Tricky, artists like that.
Very 90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe you're looking for someone to blame, fighting for air while you circle the drain.
All right, so my pick for an atmospheric game is EVE Online's